Alright guys, we're back. Gonna put a pause on that awesome swing music for the moment. We're in the lobby for Frozen Temple. We still got about 2 minutes or so to go until the French stream's ready to go. It's their tournament, so we wait on them. But we're just gonna talk about some of the matchup of what's to come. So it's ByuN versus MaNa. Now, of course, ByuN is known as Speak Now on the game and whatever and blah blah blah. But this one's really interesting to me because I want to talk a little bit about the history of things. First off, Tamps or Super Saiyan or Super SJ2 or whatever again. Yes, I play Horde side. It's a Druid. Anyways, as far as StarCraft goes, though, more importantly, ByuN has not loved playing against Protoss for a long time, actually. Players like MaNa and others are not going to be any exception to those of the Koreans, because just the race in general has been one of his least favorites to play against. I talked about this a little bit during when BlizzCon happened. You know, you saw a bigger and crazier reaction to him beating Stats in the semifinals than you did him winning Dark in the grand finals. And again, a lot of that I think is his personal hurdle to get over. That being said, I'm wondering if he finds the new version of StarCraft 2 with the balance changes better or worse than what it was before. Maybe he sticks to ByuN and the classic moves, or maybe Blink DTs and carriers are going to wreck his day. We have no idea, and even the best player in the world, I'm using air quotes here, like ByuN, might not be able to stand up to somebody like MaNa. Now, that being said, for MaNa's sake as well, maybe the new Terran's screwing with him pretty badly. Can he deal with Cyclones? Will ByuN go Cyclones? We don't know. That's what's great about seeing this. A lot of this is still new and fresh to us, as well as you guys, the audience.
I think that ByuN is a player that can adapt pretty or is willing to adapt pretty quickly into a new patch.
Yeah.
He's not super stubborn, but I also think that this is still too soon for someone who, like, ByuN plays literally every day. Like, in tournaments, that is. Like, obviously, a lot of these players play every day, but the point is, like, it has only been, like, 5 days since the patch has come out, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just stuck to his guns all the way.
I would like to see that too, because we did see Mac last time versus Protoss, and it was really up in the air, I think, and I think the jury's still on whether it's good or not. But again, that against Drogo, who's not a bad player. Don't get me wrong. MaNa's also an equally good player, if not better. But the point is that Drogo's probably better because of results. But regardless of that small point, again, with the new patch of the game, maybe MaNa has hit his jam with carriers. Maybe Blink DTs are just that super special awesomeness, because I think of MaNa's playstyle, and a lot of it has to do with him doing like the 2 pylon rushes followed up by DTs. Just he can be really gross with Protoss sometimes. Like, he will embrace the cheese of Protoss to its fullest. And that's not a bad thing.
He's a pretty cheesy guy. I don't know if he's found a way to really incorporate DTs in the early game in a cheese factor, though. That's still... I don't think that's actually become a thing. Like, maybe in the late game you'll bother getting the upgrade, but...
Well,
or if you're, like, low enough league.
Well, we haven't seen it in action yet. When I think of Blink DTs, for me, it's just regular DT harass that doesn't require Warp Prism, is more what it is in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like, reasons to why the Blink can be cool. It's just, I don't think that it's worth the investment in the upgrade as... Well, you know, we'll get into it later. I don't think it'll ever become a thing, to be honest.
Well, more on that in a bit. In the bottom right side on Frozen Temple, it is the second best of 3 today. We have the red Protoss MaNa.
On top left is the blue Terran. He is ByuN.
So, this is again playing on North America. So it's the away server for both. However, Korea to Europe, it has been, I think, a little bit more favorable for Korea to play on North America than Europe. That being said, MaNa's one of the few players we've worked with in the past who has not had a lot of, like, really moany complaints about playing on North America. I think he, as well as with the rest of the Europeans out there, acknowledge that it's not preferable, but he's sucked it up every time we've ever had to play with him here on the server. So I don't know if he actually minds it that much or not. There's a few players in StarCraft, and I mean very selectively few, like Neeb and some others, who just don't care. They don't care what the server is. They don't care what the latency's like. They'll just play whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably shouldn't faze him. He's pretty used to it. But we do have ByuN... You know, we talked about MaNa being cheesy. Kind of forgot to speak of ByuN now. Yeah, shut up. I'm getting there. Anyway, yeah, he certainly does like his cheese. And the thing is one thing that I was convinced of in the last Top Dogs group, it was not mech versus Zerg or mech in general, I suppose, but it was the power of tank pushes, which were already pretty good, especially on Frozen Temple, but now even better.
This is actually, for MaNa, he should have been able to scout this. I think ByuN has, on Frozen Temple, used the same location every time he's done this. And especially with somebody who streams as much as he does, this is knowledge that MaNa should have had. That being said, MaNa's placing his own pylon down and perhaps isn't so worried about a proxy, as 2 stalkers are coming out very quickly. My concern for this is, okay, on one hand, ByuN's not going to have a lot at home to defend, but neither will MaNa bringing his Mothership Core across the map. In fact, this one Widow Mine could very well end the game if it just goes right away.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, because this also, it's not just about being aggressive. This could have been an answer to as you were saying, the proxy you would expect from someone like ByuN, because you do get, one base, first of all. I'm really not... I've seen this defense before. We've seen this defense before. One base versus one base. But so far, it seems like the Protoss is the one that gets the worst trade.
Well, that I think largely has to do with the way detection works. But that being said, for the moment, a bit of awkward move command into the Marines with the Stalkers. That being said, though, look at this. There's going to be a pylon placed down for the overcharge. You'll break the wall. Not a problem. Followed up with possible Immortals coming out of this. Everything about this should go better for MaNa, in my mind.
It is looking that way, but we'll see what actually happens with the medevac and the Widow Mine drop. Bunker, I guess it is going to get up. Yeah, he's killing the reactor first into Supply Depot.
I like
but
that,
if you could just walk around the bunker.
If you have a depth, you actually can't tear down the building fast enough for it to matter. But the fact that he has Stalkers to deal that bonus damage is kind of nice to see. Depot get called down on the right side for ByuN. He's going to get supply blocked if things aren't careful. The stock's getting a little bit low.
Yeah, well, this is what I feel might be the problem.
Ooh, split, not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. But what's funny is that they both proxied really important buildings, right? Like, if ByuN's factory and his starport were all over here, then the Cyclone and Liberator are defending against what is a single lone stalker right now. And then once you deal with the lone stalker, you go look for the proxy, and the Immortal's not even out at that time. And it kind of goes, badly. But because ByuN also proxied his own stuff, it is not about finding that robo. It's about dealing enough damage to end the game. They both are looking to end the game.
Yeah, this is problems for MaNa, though, because MaNa was expecting this to be just Widow Mines and no more follow-up. The Liberator comes in and completely shuts down mining. MaNa, he's got one Stalker, sure, but he can't maneuver around the Cyclone, the Widow Mine, and the Liberator. So he's got to bring everything back home.
Yeah. I guess, there was no sure way to call this, not only because it was, one base versus one base, which is automatically a different game than usual in StarCraft 2, but also because of the new patch. But it does seem like the micro potential of the Terran units kind of wins out for now. This is getting cleaned up. It's taken out what it can, and
it killed a pylon, which is huge.
Yeah, powering the gateways. But MaNa was getting. Wait. Oh, where's the Immortal? Yeah, there it is. Okay, he came back home. But so, anyways, he was getting an Immortal. He was using his Robo, but actually ran out of gas. Couldn't get a second Immortal.
Well, with the Mothership Core at home, as good as the Cyclone is for various amount of reasons, it's not good against air, and a Photon Overcharge should be enough to hold him at home. He loses the high ground vision gained on the other side of the map, and that's very unfortunate, but with the Immortal out, he certainly has a lot of damage. This pylon going to go down. Oh, it's going to stop the Warp Prism.
I don't think so. Yeah, he's a little too scared. With an Immortal, I think that would have gone down, so better save it, maybe come from behind.
The Sentry is actually really interesting here, because if the Force Field zones out Cyclones, that's one thing, but more importantly, it'll reduce a lot of damage with the Guardian Shield, which I'm looking at the most for this. He's just going to pick everything up on the high ground. He's going to kill a very important depot here. That's going to supply block ByuN.
Yeah, it will.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, there you go. But he already got a decent amount of Marines. That's where the Immortal doesn't look so good anymore. Even with its barrier being able to soak up damage, it's not actually chunking away at a very important tank. It's just kind of helping.
Micro works out pretty well on the other side of the map. The problem is, though, back at home, MaNa's got to start burning some of these overcharges. He pulls the Mothership Core back, but he's not overcharging anything just yet. He's so busy microing on this side of the map, he's hoping this will win it out, but really, 1 or 2 overcharges come down a bit late. The Cyclones should have died before killing much of anything.
Yeah, even if he did win out versus the initial army, which he just barely doesn't, ByuN's production's pretty good with 3 barracks.
Both players lose a whole bunch of workers through this, but MaNa's down to 6, and he's got no real defenses left at home. I think ByuN should be able to win this game off of this.
Yeah, what a crazy game, though. You really don't know what to expect. One basing it for both of them, but the Cyclones and their new dynamic, I guess, they're still pretty good in the early game. You still don't want to mass them late game, but early game, yeah, they're still effective. And I think the biggest thing for me in this game was that MaNa brought his Mothership Core across the map. Oh, gee, okay. And that.
So I do want to point out that while ByuN does take game number 1 for a small period of time there, it didn't look like maybe he would. That actually got pretty nasty. I was most astonished by how quickly a single cyclone took down a pylon, though, and not realizing just how big of a deal that was for MaNa. I don't think he perhaps assessed that to be the case either. But for Nate, just joining us in chat, ByuN, if you're asking what did ByuN do, it was his classic proxy everything on the right side of the map build.
Yes, right.
It's ByuN on that map. I mean, let's be honest. He does the same thing like every time. But okay, game number 1. And that's just one game out of the several today. Tom KD, by the way, I'm not sure if I missed this. He donated 100 more bits a little bit ago, so shout out and thank you. Fart Falcon resub for 2 months, and Mr. Ryan SC just now for the 10-month resub. Thank you guys all for your continued support. There are a total of 5 best of 3s today. We've gone through 1. We're in at number 2 and moving on. We'll see how this continues to go. Now, I will say Frozen Temple makes for an interesting map, although everyone's leaving, so maybe this is not the correct lobby. Yeah, we just played. That makes sense. What's the new one?
Yeah.
Nope, I rejoined the same wrong lobby. Nailed it!
Damn it, Ricky.
There was 2 different people to join off of. I 50-50 the wrong way. I 40-40 incorrectly. What can I say? I was going to say, though, the next map played is actually, I think, kind of important. So my brain didn't assess that we had just done Frozen Temple, and I was going to comment on that. But actually, worth noting is ByuN does have a lot of the builds kind of similar to what we saw, where in the past, and maybe even right now in the present, he still sticks to things he's been doing for the last 6 or 7 months. I would certainly hope that MaNa doesn't get caught off guard thinking like, oh, ByuN's going to be doing totally new and different things because of the patch. Because clearly that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, he could have definitely gone for Cyclones in the old patch too. Like, he might have not have even considered the new Cyclone version, just been like, nope, these units are still, like, they gotta be good still, right? Which, that ended up being okay.
Yeah. Well, we got invited to Frost, and then everyone left again, so I don't know what's going on with these lobbies, guys. We're gonna go to a break. I didn't want to. See you in 2 minutes. Okay, folks, we're back, and we still don't have a lobby. I'm not quite sure I understand what's going on, because the English used by our admin is not perhaps the best. What I'm gathering, though, is that he's trying to create one map, but the BattleNet is creating another instead. I'm not sure.
Well,
we
that happened to
currently
me once.
well, we currently don't have a game up. I think they're trying to make Apotheosis, but it's not happening. Gotta give a little bit of hype. Team Liquid apparently just tweeted about our matches, so thank you very much to the folks over on Team Liquid. Of course, they're tweeting because MaNa's playing, but of course, linking to our stream is always nice. So do us a favor, guys, and hit that retweet button and share that tweet. But I think Zombie Grub is getting antsy, so she's trying to make the lobby now. Just,
No, I'm not.
I just want you to like actually push everyone out of the way. Like, excuse me, let me do this. Like, come through. Like,
I would never. Also, it's all in Korean, and I can't find it anyway, so... Maybe I would, but now I'll never.
By the way, I love MaNa's reply to the tweet. The picture they used, he's like, it looks like I'm sitting on a toilet. Oh, I'm going to take the time to make a literal shitpost on stream while we're waiting. Do me a favor, let me know when the lobby's up because I'm not tabbed in anymore. We'll get into this sweet, sweet, not quite Photoshop action of... Where's MaNa?
Someone else has to step up, and no one else is.
Well, I am busy trying to find a picture of a toilet to Photoshop MaNa onto, okay? So I don't have time for that. Toilet seat. I wonder if it'd be easier, cropping out MaNa or cropping out the toilet. Probably cropping out the toilet. If you guys ever wonder, like, what does Rifkin do in his spare time when he's bored? It's this. It's always this. Just making shit posts for Twitter all the time, always. We're gonna go really lazy with this. Use the magic wand tool. Pro tip: never use the magic wand tool. It's pretty fucking garbage. Okay, I'm going the wrong direction with that. Is it 2 that I want? It's less than I want. Alright, boom. Then I guess I'll crop out MaNa a bit. Would probably be the best way to do it. Or is it? How's it going with the game lobby stuff, by the way?
Emil sounded like he was gonna do it, but then he didn't do anything.
Bloody Emil, dude.
It actually is tilting me so hard that I can't just make it. I'm getting so frustrated.
There, zombie. Go up there.
No!
Oh, I heard a
No!
new bit of some variety going up.
Gonna be the right one.
Team Liquid guys, Dear StarCraft people, I'm busy trying to make a really terrible pose of MaNa on a toilet, okay? And I'm doing this in the least efficient way possible. Anyone who actually knows how to use Photoshop is going to be so mad at me watching this. I'm sorry. I use a website called pixel.r or something. It's just simple. Oh my god, I actually can't see the edge of the toilet. This is going to be done very poorly. Nice. Almost nailed it.
Oh boy.
What are we oh-boying about?
Little. Matter? Is that matter? Oh, Emil can't get in now.
Nice. Absolutely unnecessary technical difficulty hype. Alright, you know, I'm just gonna cop out and crop it. That'd be so much easier to do. Right at his knees. There you go, MaNa. On his throne. Literal throne.
I'm so glad that happened, as opposed to making the lobby. Now Corsair isn't around anymore. Or ByuN. Other Terran guy.
Yeah, just with like AFK. He's like, this is taking too long. I'm done. Peace. Sitting on his Protoss throne. Nice. Shitpost accomplished. Alright, well, whenever ByuN gets back, we'll get things going. I guess just showing you. Whoop, we are in the lobby. We're not lying to you guys. Okay, this isn't a scam to have you watch me do bad Photoshop all day.
Eat this last piece of
Hey
bread.
Rifkin, are you still talking to the 12-year-old girl on WoW? What? Who are you? I don't even know any 12-year-olds, dude. This is just like some drama baiting in a really lame fashion, I guess.
Well, you're borderline over defensive, so be careful.
That's true. I gotta be careful I don't protest too much. Thank you, CyberSoul SC2 for that sub. New sub. Hype! No, I just thought it was an interesting thing because one of my best friends in WoW, I guess when I was like 18, he was 12. Like, we're both older now, but just
tell us more.
Well, no, it's interesting because this was like my warrior buddy I played arenas with like all day, every day. Now he's grown up, I'm grown up, that sort of thing. But I didn't meet him when he was 12, so just an oddly coincidental number. Anyways, we are in game number 2 of the best of 3. It took some time to get going, but here we are on Apotheosis. You guys are watching the International Top Dogs Group C. Top left side of the map, we got the red Protoss MaNa.
In the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is ByuN. Where are you?
Okay, so ByuN did some proxies, and we didn't really get to see, like, okay, is it mech, is it bio, where do we sit? I'm hoping on a map like Apotheosis we will get to see some of that, question mark? I don't know. Like, for ByuN, I guess I had kind of forgotten that he was capable of doing a lot of that stuff, but with another proxy coming down, maybe it's just going to be round 2 of game 1.
This is what sticking to his guns meant, you know? It wasn't bio, it was proxying all the damn time. I do think this is going to be followed up with a 1-bait. Yeah, he's got double gas. So it's not surprising. Mon is actually scouting in the most common location for the proxy racks of Proxy Reaper. Unfortunately for him, well, yes, that is the most common location for the single Proxy Reaper. It's not the most common location for ByuN. it's one of his locations. You can choose a lot of different locations.
Yeah,
but
actually, that's a good point. Like Frozen Temple, it's always the same spot always. This one's got a couple of different paths.
the other way that ByuN does it is either at the third base, he did that at BlizzCon, or we're doing it right now, which, I mean, yeah, MaNa might have scouted the third base, but I don't think it's pretty unlikely he would have scouted the whatever that base would have been, so the 5th or 6th. He does know that something's up, of course. Like, he got the main base scout.
Yeah, there's no bears. Immediately red flags get raised. And I think a key difference in this game versus that last game, though, is MaNa was decisively getting aggressive. You know, like 2 gateways with 2 stalkers right off the bat. He actually cancels his natural base nexus. I think he knows what's going to be up, and he's going to play defensive this time. However, I'm not sure whether the current state of the game simply playing defensive is going to be enough or not. On one side of this, you're like, okay, you stop the attack and ByuN's going to have nothing at home. But on the other side of this, too, you're also going to be stuck possibly losing the game because you didn't defend well enough.
I'm also still not convinced that one-basing it in response is the way to go. And that sounds like so cruel because I'm basically saying, well, you got to defend it naturally, you're going to lose the Protoss player, which seems like counterintuitive. But it's been what the history of the proxy, especially the full-on proxy, has been. If the Protoss tries to defend on one base, things are being, you know, ultra defensive in a good way, they actually still lose. Whether that's because they still get broken with like a tank push, which is what ByuN's doing, or they, you know, think they're in a decent position, but because they didn't expand, they're actually not. Like, you know, ByuN can recover. I don't know. I do like the Stargate. I just don't know about holding up in his main base. Let's see what happens.
I will say the tank's going to have interesting use. Vision is going to be a problem for him. When the medevac comes out, obviously he'll have some of the high ground provided, but that's where the Void Ray comes in, and it's going to shred a medevac to bits, and a Liberator too, if that was what follows it up. So MaNa's really taking care of business right now before this even starts. The pylon's going to buy him time. Well, he's on his toilet throne after all, right? He's going to buy time with that pylon, but is it going to really be enough? There's 3 adepts being produced at a time. That Void Ray's still not out yet. There's going to be maybe an overcharge, and hell, ByuN's even going to build a bunker here on the high ground.
Yeah. Yep. That bunker's gonna be pretty important because the 3 adepts at a time is actually.
Oh,
really,
he's gonna
really
get on the tank pretty quick.
That
The Void Ray
tank
gonna shred it to bits.
That tank was super questionable to siege up like that.
Well, the bunker too is very close to the pylon. I'm not sure what the goals were with that. He can take on the Marines, but I'm worried about this because he's not with the Void Ray. He's not fighting. He's got the tank working against him, and MaNa may have over-dedicated with that transfer.
Yeah, and this comes back down to what I brought up earlier. So either MaNa's broken, you know, he like severely messes up and like loses the game. Or he pushes ByuN back, but ByuN actually somehow manages to expand or follow up in still a decent manner, because again, they're both on one base.
I really like the Phoenix added into this for a lot of different reasons, but more than anything else, to just take one unit out of the fight. There we go, lifts up the Cyclone, Void Ray on top of the Liberator. The Marines can maybe deal with the Void Ray. Actually, the prismatic alignment's making this really questionable. Unfortunately, though, the Void Ray still goes down. Lock onto the Phoenix is going to be kind of useless, if we're going to be honest, but more Phoenix being made means more Graviton beam potential.
Yeah. All the Marines are trying to target fire him, I suppose. Still a couple of floating overtures in the back pocket, and MaNa is at times over-dedicating, and this is seriously like the case of a couple of units being dead or alive. There's the difference between either one of these guys winning, but
yeah,
it's not quite decided yet. ByuN actually still has a, you know, and he's at an army supply lead, so it feels like he's winning, but it, you know, overcharge certainly helps.
If MaNa wasn't making those small mistakes, he could have warped in 2 adepts across the map and you've gone for a counter of some variety at this point. But the Vikings actually going to try and take on the Phoenix. It's not going to work. Marines are all pretty much dead. The 2 Phoenix remaining should be good to pick up the rest of what's left, but he's not quite doing it. Mothership Core still got the overcharges. I think this should still be good for MaNa.
It's so questionable. Yeah, the Phoenixes are such a good, you know, big deal, but, you know, they can only lift up so much, and they don't kill whatever they lift up, you know, that quickly either. And ByuN is just, he's continuing to invest into this. He's got Stim on the way, for God's sake. Like, what's
the Cyclones don't do much versus air. It's got to be noted. That being said, Surround comes down on top of this from the probes. The tank is the one that's picked up. I don't know. The Cyclones have got the bigger issue at this point. Either way, he's going to kill that tank. One of the Phoenix is a little bit low, so maybe not quite going to kill the tank. Mothership Core not helping out too much. So much is in the red, but looks like MaNa holds on. 15 probes left over, though, as 10 died. Do not leave him in a great spot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if this was, again, like, if this was 2 base, ByuN is probably already tapped out, but of course it's a very different game as a 2 base. But the point is, ByuN should know that he has still a chance. I mean, macroing when every single production facility is proxied,
lift up the
probably
Viking.
not gonna
Be so
happen.
ironic.
But it is still a question of can ByuN continue doing damage, and the stim is just, it's actually gonna finish in this game. It's so silly.
I know it shouldn't, but of course the stim's been researched back at home, so it's safe. There's no chance of MaNa picking that off. No opportunity for MaNa to really expand either really sucks for him. And of course, the Viking on the ground, I guess we should note, if there were stalkers, there's not, but if there were stalkers or sentries, they would get wrecked. Vikings do 20 damage versus mechanical.
Yeah. I like this Widowmine placement, not just because he's anticipating like being followed by the Phoenixes, but also if MaNa expanded, I think he would attempt
the gold,
a gold base.
Yeah.
Now that he's seen that it's entirely proxied, maybe not. I don't know, but that is a pretty common expansion.
This did take some time to finally get on top of the production, but MaNa's too far out of the base now, not realizing ByuN's walked behind him. He's transferring through with the Adepts, but everything needs to be at home. The Mothership Core has to recall back home. There's no pylons in a good position to defend this.
Yeah, he should... Okay, no. Yeah, he should just stay on the ground. So the Adepts going across the map, I guess, are hoping to really catch ByuN without production back at home. He does have 2 barracks producing, so he has a decent number of Marines.
Phoenix will beat out the Vikings, which is kind of nice to see. A lot of pros being dedicated into said Marines. The Phoenix can just pick them up, though. Lift up the Viking. Please go. Oh, okay, just that is another report.
Never happening.
Yeah. Shutting down the expansion out of ByuN's pretty big, but MaNa's still going to tap out. GG. That was not the series I expected to see versus MaNa, but like a complete reversal of the previous group. Group D had both the Terrans fall to the losers match. Group C is both the Terrans rise to the winners. That's kind of a cool difference to see. Now that being said, guys, it is going to be TvT ByuN versus Kel'Thuzur next, so we'll be sticking around on the North American server. After this will be MaNa versus sort of in some Europe versus Europe action. But a small commercial break before then. Well, actually, still might. I don't know if will they do 5 minutes. It's such a quick series. I don't know. We'll go on break and we'll come back as soon as they're ready to go. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you soon.